Hey everybody, it's Rachel with Rachel Q Stitches. Welcome to my video. Today is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. This is FlossTube number 10. And today marks 23 years ago that I became a mom. Yep. My son was 6 days old when he was placed with us. He weighed 10.5 pounds, 21.5 inches long when he was born, and he weighed 11 pounds when I got him. It was one of the best days of our lives since we've been married. We had prayed for 9 years for a baby, and exactly 1 year before we had decided to adopt. So it took us a year to get our placement, and I think that year was probably the longest year of my life, and then the longest 3 weeks of my life. My son was 2 weeks late. He was born 2 weeks late, and then we had to wait 6 days before we got him. So those 3 weeks were long, very, very long, but it was so worth it. He has been such a blessing to us, and I love him dearly. We both do. We tell our other two he's our favorite, and they laugh and they joke about it, but and he smiles when we say that, so it's just kind of a family joke. But we celebrate his gotcha day more as a day that we became parents than anything. Honestly, when we got him, we didn't think we'd have any more kids, so adopting a newborn just doesn't, back then, just didn't happen often, and it's still a little bit harder, and the routes that we chose to go, it didn't happen hardly at all. So the fact that we were given 3 babies is just a miracle in itself, and it's been such a blessing, and we know that God's hand was in everything. Maybe one day I'll sit down and tell our whole story about it, but that's a different video for a different day. But it's been good, and he is such a blessing. Love him dearly. I don't think he's watching, but hey, bud. So this week, I don't feel like I got much stitching done. I hardly came in this room. I came in this room to grab some fabric for a project that I started, and that is about it. In fact, when I sat down, my notes were still in front of me. My quilt blocks that I showed y'all were still in front of me. Everything was still in front of me. I had to kind of clean off the space because I didn't do anything. I don't feel like I did anything. I did do some stitching. I did complete some little projects, and so you won't be seeing Pandemic. Pandemic did not get worked on. Pandemic is my Thursday, Friday stitch, and I did not stitch those because I really needed to get done I Collect, designed by Brenda Gervais for With Thy Needle and Thread, and so I really wanted to get this done because I knew that I needed to finish it and fully finish it this month. So I needed to get it done. So I left off this bottom part that says Collector, and there it is. And as soon as I find how I'm going to finish it, I will use the tip that Michelle with Mama Loves You GB, Michelle talked about, and that is lining it with some just a thin fusible interfacing, and then I'll sew the buttons on. So there it is. 20 count Ada, I believe, maybe 18. Thrift store floss. That's it. Pretty much what my smalls are made of. There it is. Hopefully next week you will see a fully finished object. Then my weekend stitch was right here. Tulips with Chick, right here. That is by the Snowflower Diaries. It is a freebie. And there's a pin in it. This, again, is 18 count Ada. And thrift store floss. This spring you can see it a little better in person than you can on camera. So there it is. Kind of went with the purple and gold theme, Go Tigers. And so there it is. And so I am hoping to also fully finish this week. I joined the March Mayhem Facebook group, and I'll link it below if I think about it. And basically my goal for the March Mayhem is to fully finish some items. I have several items that are starting to stack up, and I need to finish them. I just need to get them in frames, or I need to get them just finished. So that's my goal for March, is to fully finish everything that I have finished stitching so far, which is about 6 or 7 items, because I've already finished some or whatever, and I don't want to get overwhelmed at the end of the year and just have a ton of these smalls that need to get done. So my next weekend stitch will be, I believe I showed you this last week, it is the green salt box with some lambs by Pinker and Pumpkin Quilting. She's got a new one out. I did not get a chance to print it out, but it has chickens and it has bunnies. So I'm so excited. That will be after I do this one, because it's green and I think I probably need to finish it by St. Patrick's Day, which is 3 days, 4 days. I might be stitching this on St. Patrick's Day. So there you go. That's my next weekend stitch. I'm speeding along. I need to slow down. Slow down, Rachel. So, yeah, as you know, I'm working on a mini, M-I-N-I, sampler wall. I'm doing all red samplers. And so right now, I did La-Di-Da, freebie alphabet with hair. And I finished it last night. This is my Monday stitch, because I put away the linen and threads sal because I was not enjoying it. So I figured we're just on month 2, 3. I'm not going to continue stitching something I'm not enjoying, and I had a big mistake that I need to rip out. So there is this. There are some errors, but I can't tell looking at it. I don't know, maybe you can look at it and go, oh, that is wrong. But I like it. It seems like the last couple of stitches I have are finishing out at about 5 by 5. So if anybody knows of a place where I can get a couple of 5 by 5 frames, I would appreciate it, because I need several. So this is it. Freebie alphabet with hair. Again, 18 count Aida that are coffee tea dyed, and thrift store floss. I believe this was a J&P Coats from back in the day. I think it was just called Coats at the time. It's a burgundy color. And there it is. I like it. Very pretty. So I do have a little tip. You know, I use a lot of thrift store floss, and I was watching Log Cabin Stitcher, and she talked about using beeswax for her threads. And a lot of my thrift store threads, they tangle easily, or they fray easy. They don't fray that. I shouldn't say they fray easy. I don't use them if they fray easy, but they tangle easy. And I use beeswax, when I do English paper piecing. And so I thought, well, do I have some? And of course it was in my English paper piecing kit. And then I remembered I bought a needle minder or something off of Etsy, and they sent a thing of beeswax with it. It was a little diamond. I should have brought it in here. A little, you know, diamond like your ring shaped piece of beeswax. And so I pulled it out, and I was shocked, because it was like, I remember seeing it. It was like right there, and I was like, oh, I know exactly where that is. So I grabbed it, and it has made wonders on my thrift store floss. You know, because, you know, normally I kind of lick it, or I'll wet my fingers and I'll run it, and I'm always afraid that, you know, since I coffee tea dyed, that I'm gonna get these white spots everywhere from my spit. So I like it. It really gives it a nice little coating. It runs through the holes really easy. And I did lie to y'all. This is 20 count, because I had to use 1 strand. There you go, 20 count. And so is the I Collect. It's 20 count. So it's turning out really good. But the beeswax helps. So if you're using thrift store floss, see what happens when I get distracted. If you're using thrift store floss, use some beeswax. It'll help kind of coat it and help it glide through the fabric a little bit better. So anyway, so my next mini sampler is going to be this right here. This is by Stone Street Stitchworks, the Lace Maker's Cottage, and I've seen several people do it. and it's cute. I'm looking for a variety of mini samplers. A lot of them I have are basically just alphabet. So I am looking for some that have pictures on them. So if you know of any, let me know. I am going to try to get a hold of Brenda Key's book with the motifs that maybe I can kind of stretch out some of the samplers with just letters and add my own. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. And I won't reach my goal of 52 if I spend too much time trying to alter things. So, which happens. That's pretty much the story of my life. I get too involved in other things and don't finish. All right, Reolist. This is for the Reolist Stitch Along on Instagram. This is Feline Family. And you know my goal was to finish this chart, this page. Didn't happen. It's a lot of single strand half stitches. All I have left is a little spot right here and these right here, and I'm done. And this little bitty right there, and I'm done with this first page. So hopefully today, this is my Tuesday stitch. Hopefully today I will be able to, I don't know, maybe move the Q-snaps and start another page. I'm going to go on to the Mama, which is right here, and get that stitch. She is about 3/4 of a page, and so I'm hoping to get that done. But here's my Reolist. Again, I'm still enjoying the thread. It's the wool acrylic. I love the coverage. I would love to know if there's a place to get that kind of thread, because I think if I ever did a full coverage piece, I'd love to use that. But I don't see myself ever doing a full coverage piece because I don't enjoy them. I shouldn't say I don't enjoy them. They just take a long time, and I like quick finishes, which is why I do quick quilts, because I don't want to spend weeks, hours a day working on a quilt. And I kind of feel the same way about full coverage. I don't know. But I enjoy watching people who do them. There are several people I enjoy watching that do full coverage, and they're beautiful. And maybe one day I'll do a full coverage. I don't know. I have some patterns. I do. Reolist does have one, and if it ever came up on sale, I think I would get it and do it. And it is the Castle in Germany. It starts with an N, and I'm not going to pronounce it. There are several variations on it, but the Reolist one is by far my favorite pattern of that castle. I do have Germanic roots, about equal part German, French in my system, with some English and Scandinavian thrown in there. But for the most part, I always say I'm French and German. So I would like to do that, just kind of as a nod to my dad's side of the family, which is the German. So my next weekend stitch will be tulips with bunny after I finish the green salt box. I will probably work on the green salt box Friday and work all day Thursday on the green salt box Friday, and work on this weekend if I finish it. And I just remembered something, and y'all, I am going to try to do something that I've never done before, and that is pause and come back, because I realized I forgot the names of Jesus, and I did a lot of work on that. So hold on, I'm back, and hopefully I figure out how to stitch these two things together. Nothing like necessity making you learn how to do something you don't know how to do. Okay. Names of Jesus. This is my Lent stitch. This is my Wednesday stitch. This is why I got all confused talking about the weekend stitches, and I'm not doing this one because I'm going to be working on the green salt box by Pinker and Pumpkin. Those usually take me a full weekend. So anyway, here goes. And I forgot the little sheet that shows what it looks like, but here's Names of Jesus by Joyful Expressions. And this is what I got done. I do believe last week I had started Redeemer. And I did Omega, Jehovah, Kyros, and King of Kings. Or Kurios. I don't know. It means Lord. Looked it up before I stitched it to to make sure it wasn't something sacrilegious or anything. But there it is. Prince of Peace. So, names of Jesus. I got a lot done. A lot more than I expected. So much my theory of one name a week. We'll see how much I get done tomorrow. But I'm almost done with one page. So that should be fun. Right here in this big spot is part of the names of. And I'm going to do that in a variegated to kind of bring in all these colors together. It'll be in a variegated. So it's something I can start, you know, and then maybe pick up as I go to the next page and whatnot. But that's what goes right here. And so that's why I said I'm almost done with this page, because I just have this huge part right there. So there it is. Yay! So fully finished. I do not have I have an almost AFFO. I started this last week after I made my video, and while I was waiting for it to upload, and I did this right here. I think I'm going to put a little ruffle behind it because I'm going to be mounting it, well, in this, cover my face, in this little thing right here from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint it probably, I think red or black. I think I told y'all this last week. So I put the trim on, and I stuck them together. They were two separate pieces, and I stuck them together. And then I think I'm going to put a little ruffle behind it so that, because it's a little, not quite big enough in here. See, so if I put a little ruffle or something behind it, it should work. And then this is how I want to finish all her chicken pieces from Pinker and Pumpkin. She's got bees, now bunnies. I think there's one more, but I'm not, maybe pumpkins, I think. And then the hearts that I finished already for Valentine's Day. So I did this, and I like using, with Pinker and Pumpkin's things, I'm using my Aunt Grace fabrics, which are vintage from the 1990s, 1930s reproduction fabrics. So they're vintage reproduction fabrics. And then this trim right here is actually from a vintage pillowcase. Took the trim off. And then the rickrack is from my Creative Reuse store. So it's vintage too. So that is what I'm going to do. I need to find something that goes right here. Not quite sure what I'm going to put there. I haven't decided yet. I do have that blue brooch that I thought about using, but I think it might be too much. So I don't know. I'm going to see maybe if I can find a snowman button or something and put it on there. But I haven't figured that out yet. But hopefully next week I will get more finishing done. I like to do stuff in my sewing room when my husband plays golf, because he's not here. But last weekend he played golf, and I just sat down and stitched in the living room, catching up on all my YouTube videos. So that's what I did Saturday. So anyway, no haul at all, none. I didn't go shopping. I wanted to go shopping Friday. Our neighbors were having their fence repaired from the hurricane this past year. One of them, I think actually, the front part of his fence was destroyed the first hurricane that came through, and the second part of his fence was destroyed the second hurricane that came through. So he's getting all that repaired finally, and we allowed his workers to use our driveway to load up their supplies, and they decided to just park there. And I didn't feel like asking them to move. I just didn't have the energy in me to do it. So I didn't go shopping Friday like I wanted to for all my finishing supplies. So that's what I'm going to do this Friday, hopefully. Hopefully. We will see how things go. Sorry. So March is Women's History Month. My mom was born in March, and I always say that my mom was probably the best example of what a godly woman and wife should be. She was a mother. I mean, she was the best. I aspire to be like she was. One of the things that my mom taught me, my mom homeschooled me my last 2 years of high school because I was a few credits behind going into my junior year, And my mom pulled me out and homeschooled me, and I actually could have finished high school a year early because of how we did it. She just, was like, nope, we're going to get this done. You got to finish this. And, when you're working with one student, you go through things a lot faster than when you have a classroom full of students. And she was able to focus on those things that I needed in order to pass the exams, instead of going back through the whole class. It's like, no, you just need these things to pass the exams. Did those things, pass the exams. It was that. So, but in that year, one of the things, and okay, I know it's International Women's Month, Women's History Month, International Women's Day was yesterday, but I'm going to tell you right now, I will be reading out of the Bible. So if that offends you, I'm sorry. You can leave. I don't mind. It won't hurt my feelings. But if you want to stay and listen, you can. So there's my little disclaimer. But one of the things my mom taught me was out of Proverbs 31, the virtuous woman. And, I know a lot of people think that the Bible talks a lot about, women being under men, being submissive. And it does, it does. But, when you really read the Bible for yourself, and you start to study the things that it says, you realize that men and women are equal. In fact, Paul even says, and it's going to escape me where it's at, that, according to God, there's no male or female. There's just souls that need saving, and that's it. And so, I'm not saying we need to get rid of gender. I'm just saying, in God's eyes, we're all equal. So, Proverbs 31:22 says, she selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. And then verse 16 says, she considers a field and buys it, and out of her earnings she plants a vineyard. These two verses really, really speak to me, because they describe really the two types of women that we have in our society, especially here in America and maybe some European countries. And that is the stay-at-home mom who has hobbies and crafts and does things like that, or, and then the woman who's in the workplace. And that is one of the things my mom always stressed to me is, you do what you feel like God has called you to do. If God has called you to be a stay-at-home mom, to homeschool your children, make quilts, do a little bit of cross-stitch on the side, maybe, I don't know, what other hobbies there are, bake bread. But if God tells you to go out and get a job and be in the workforce and send your kids to school, and come home and relax, well, then so be it. That's what God's called you to do. I think we need to focus more on what we feel like we're called to do versus what other people tell us we need to do. I was ridiculed for being a stay-at-home mom who homeschooled their kids. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what I did. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of reward. My kids read to me their first sentence. I saw their eyes light up when they realized that when you put 3 words together, it's 3 letters together, it makes a word. We're called to different things. And I think as women, we need to learn to lift one another up. Women can be very judgmental of one another. We can be very judgmental of ourselves. I know there are times I'm looking at my husband going, I feel like I don't do anything. When people ask me, so Rachel, what do you do? I'm a retired stay-at-home mom. My kids are grown. I'm a stay-at-home wife. I don't feel like I contribute. My husband reminds me that I do, because when he gets home, he has food. He can relax, knowing that everything's done and we can relax together. And that's why I stitch at night, mainly because I just like to be with him, and all of my stuff is done during the day, and that's my preference. I have friends, they both work, they both come home, one cooks, one cleans, one helps the kids with homework. They're a team. It's amazing. I applaud them. But if they're doing what they feel like they need to do, then I say we lift one another up. And that's what we need to do as women. And we need to remember that, if you read Proverbs 31:10 through 31, it talks a lot about the different things that women do. And there is one part, and I'm gonna read it to you, and it kind of makes me laugh. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna find it. Give me some time. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. The man is not sitting around doing nothing. I had somebody once say, he just sits at the gate talking to his friends. No, that's where they conducted business, was the city gate. That's where they traded. That's where, people from other country came and did trading. And so he's not sitting around smoking a cigar, drinking a whiskey, while his wife is selling fields, planting vineyards, and baking bread. No, he's not. If he is, he's not following God's plan for his life. It tells us that husbands should love their wives as Christ loved the church. And it doesn't mean that he sets rules and sits around and does nothing. It means that he's willing to lay down his life for her, like Jesus did for us. And that is something that I truly believe my husband would do for me. I know he would. He loves me. And I know that there are women out there with husbands who don't love them that way. I'm not going to tell you to leave your husband. That is between you and God. But my point is that as women, we need to encourage one another. We need to uplift one another. So if you are out there working, I applaud you. If you are unemployed because of this whole COVID mess, hear my prayers, because I know that in today's day and age, it's hard to live off of one income. Very, very hard. I believe that started in the 80s. I know it became almost impossible to live off of one income, and it's a sacrifice. It can be done, but it's a huge sacrifice, and it's a sacrifice some people aren't willing to make, and I'm not going to criticize you for that. But so whether you are the woman who buys fields and sells them, it doesn't say she consulted with her husband. The woman considered a field and bought it and planted a vineyard. So if you feel called to buy a field and plant a vineyard, more power to you. But if you wake up early to cook for your family, and you realize she does, hold on, she has maidservants. Yeah, the woman had maidservants. So whether you stay home and you raise your babies and you cross stitch in your quiet time, or whether you work all day and you come home and you cross stitch in your quiet time, I support you. I support your choice. I support your calling that you feel like God's given you, and I am here to uplift you. So that is my word for today. It says, give her the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. Not only was her husband well known as a hard worker, but so is she. So, be blessed. Have a good day. I will see y'all next week, and happy stitching. Bye-bye.